Hi there, it's Sam from Pootles.co.uk. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today's project is a nice little box. This is using half a sheet of cardstock, half a sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock, which is 30 by 30, and it's quite simple to make, but it's got a lovely triangular pinch close in there. Let me just tip it maybe that way so you can see it better with the lighting. It's lovely, but yet it only uses half a sheet of 12 by 12 square card. So mine's here. This one is Rich Razzleberry with Rich Razzleberry polka dot parade paper and matching ribbon and a lovely little fluffy flower on the front. I'm not going to show you how to make the flower. There is a video from last year that I made, I think maybe October time, that shows you how to make this, but also shows you how you can tint the edges to make a coloured one. But I'm not, this project isn't about making the flower, it's about making the box. So half a sheet. So it's 6 by 12 inches, which is 30 by 15 centimetres. Now, a sheet of 12 by 12 actually is 30.5, and then it just got too complicated going into sort of, 0.2s of millimetres. So for metrics, cut yours down to 30 centimetres by 15 centimetres. So 6 by 12, and with the long side at the top, your first score line, I'm going to give you the imperial measurements first, and then I'll come back and do the metrics, but they're all on my blog anyway, so don't worry about writing it down. So it's ½ inch, 1½ inches, 5¼ inches, 6¾ inch, 10½, and 11½. So this is on the long side. So metrics, you're going to score it at 1 centimetre, 3½, 13, 17, 26½, and 29 centimetres. Then turn it round, and this time you're going to score it at 1½ and at 4½, which is, it is 4 and 11 centimetres. I couldn't see on my notes for a second, but what you need to do now is up here you've got a score line very close to the top. Hopefully you can see that. Let me tip that. This score line here, we're now going to do a couple of little scores that only come down to that part. And this one comes at 3/4 inch, which is 2 centimetres, and again at 5¼ which is 13 centimetres. So can you see that if I tip that? And then rotate it and do exactly the same on the opposite side. So 3/4 inch, 2 centimetres, and 5¼ which is 13 centimetres. So that's that done. So it's the same at both ends. Move your scoring tool, but keep hold of your scoring stylus, because we're now going to join, we're going to make triangles from that point there. Yes, you can see that point down to this point here, and that point to there. So you're going to score a triangle. We're going to do this all the way round. So from there to there. Oops, try not to catch myself on my grid paper, and there to there. So that is the triangle, and we're going to do that on all 4 corners. So I will try and do this quite quickly. And I find a steel rule works really well for this. And you could, if you don't have a stylus, you could use the blunt end of a pen or whatever it is you use to score normally, and maybe lean on, if you don't have a big wodge of grid paper, I've got practically a full pack here, on a piercing mat or something soft, a mouse pad, that could work too. So that, if I took that way, you can see all my little triangular pieces. Right, fold the score lines and burnish them well, but not the diagonal ones. Don't worry about those for the minute. Come and do all of these. Okay, so all of those are done. These ones here, as the paper is going in that direction, we need to push these so they come in the opposite way. And actually, if you take your thumb one side of this bit and one there and match them up, there we go, match them up, that will automatically create the triangle. There we go, so that's number 2, that's number 3, and that's number 4. So they're all done. So when it comes to close, it will be beautiful and lovely. Right, bits to cut. Snip, snip. Hold it in the long, with the long side going left to right, and we're going to cut those 2 pieces, and we're going to cut a little triangle, well not a triangle, just a wedge, little wedge into them. So there, and that just helps the close. Whoops, and there. And then it's all going to fold round like that. So that would be the front, and pinch close like that. And that's the box. So actually, you could put something relatively heavy in here because there is no bottom for it to potentially risk opening. So you could put something of considerable weight in there. Right. Sticky strip, which, oh, I probably should have got a spare roll out just in case, but I didn't. So, sticky strip, it doesn't matter which one you go for, one or the other, and put it, you could use liquid glue. Given how much this stuff hates me, I probably should have chosen liquid glue. And go all the way on the outer edge. Normally you hear me talking about putting sticky strip close to the score line. This time we're not. We're going to put it close to the outside edge. And oh, I'm going to have a couple of little bits on these 2, so fold these in towards yourself, and a couple of little pieces on there. Piece there, and then I'm going to peel off these bits first. And fold this up. So what we want to do is get this line here matching there, so it's folding round to line up. I'm trying to look at the monitor and to see if I'm doing the same thing. If I'm looking at it properly, it's very confusing. I'm looking straight up in the air, nowhere near actually what I'm doing. There we go. So that's got a lovely smooth bottom to it, and then these bits are going to fold up and fold round. I probably should have put the designer series paper on. That might have been helpful. Oh well, I haven't. We'll pretend I did. I'll come and do it afterwards. I would suggest putting the paper on first. There we go, so that's that side all done. And this one. And exactly the same. All lined up, and that, because we've already forced the creasing, it's creasing up nicely, so we're not having to manipulate or push or anything like that. Bit of DSP, I've carried on with the polka dot parade, and this one's Marina Mist. And you need 4 pieces, and 2 that measure 3.5 inches by 2 3/4, which is 9 centimetres by 6.5, and then you need 2 that measure 2 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch, which is 6.5 by 2 centimetres, and they're going to go at the top. So, a little bit of snell on each of those. And these are just going to go onto the front panels. And then that side. And then these bits up here. So there we go. And then you've got 2 seams that run at the back, so that obviously is the back. So pinch and close, and I'm using, people keep saying to me, you know, what big tool is it you use to cut your holes? This is a crocodile. It's from a company called We Are Memory Keepers. Stampin' Up used to sell it and they don't. I think we ought to start a petition asking them to bring it back. Have a hunt on eBay or maybe Amazon, somewhere like that for it. I do like it. I can get away with not using it, but I'm cheating today and using it. So that's what it is. So yeah, I definitely think we ought to petition Stampin' Up to bring it back for us. Right, final bit, some ribbon. Let me bring back my original. And somebody gave me a tip that it might be helpful if I chopped off the length and didn't fight with the reel while trying to tie my bows. So I'm taking your tip, thank you. And this is the Whisper White stitched ribbon because we haven't got a Marina Mist one that is in this thin one. I believe have we got, yeah, I think we've got a big chevron ribbon. Right, let's see if your tip works. Nothing works, it's me. It's my fault. I have to say it was less cumbersome not having the reel that I'm bandying around, but look, I've chopped too much off, so I've got a bit too much excess. I'll get there one day. Right, and then my little, a lovely little fluffy flower that I've secured in the middle with a, I'm using the Candy Dot brad bases, so I've put a matching Marina Mist Candy Dot in there. I'm just going to fluff this back up a little bit. It's sort of so that if it, yeah, it might peep through. And then some mini glue dots on the back, just because I love them. I think they're marvellous. And I'm going to stick them to my fingernails. And then down at the bottom, beautifully in place, and that is my box that you can get from half a sheet of cardstock. So obviously you can get 2 from a sheet of cardstock. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me, and I hope to speak to you soon.